A newly declassified letter from two Democratic senators accuses the CIA of collecting information on Americans with no approval from any branch of the government. Senators Ron Wyden and Martin Heinrich say the agency has, quote, secretly conducted its own bulk program without oversight from the judicial, congressional, or even executive branch. Here to react, former CIA operative Mike Baker. Mike, great to see you this morning. So what do you make? What do you make of this?
Well, look, certainly Senator Wyden's never been known to hyperbole or dramatic overstatement. Look, he and Senator Heinrich are both on the Senate Intelligence Committee. They know better. They've basically put out a letter that's essentially clickbait. But what's the issue? The issue is, look, when the agency is collecting intelligence, when they're identifying, targeting, monitoring suspects, terrorist suspects or potential suspects overseas, if one of those targets is in contact with a U.S. person, that person now becomes temporarily a person of interest, because what do you have? You have an authorized investigation against a terrorist who now is in contact with a U.S. person. You've got to determine whether that's an innocent contact or that person actually, is of concern. And so the question that Heinrich and Wyden are raising in this redacted letter that's come out, they sent it over to the agency about 10 months ago, is, how do those internal data search systems within the agency work when the analysts within the CIA are asking or querying or inquiring existing data repositories? I know that's a lot of,
but I get it, Mike. The CIA has an ability to look into American citizens if it's connected to collecting data on threats external from the United States. But what Wyden and Heinrich are saying is they've exceeded those statutory limitations. And by the way, they're saying they're exceeding any type of democratic oversight from the congressional or executive branch. That's what they are alleging. Really quickly, Mike, I want you to respond. Here's what the CIA says. They say the CIA recognizes and takes very seriously our obligation to respect the privacy and civil liberties of U.S. persons and conduct our vital national security mission and conduct activities, including collection activities, in compliance with U.S. law. The CIA is committed to transparency, consistency. It gets long. They're saying we're operating within the bounds of our limitations. The senators seem to say they're not.
Yeah, look, I spent a long time behind the curtain, and again, people are going to expect me to say this, right? They're not going to look at me as an objective observer on the CIA, but I can tell you that they are operating within very defined protocols as to what happens when a U.S. person comes onto the radar screen as part of an investigation into a foreign national who's of national security concern. And so, again, look, frankly, if Wyden was that concerned about privacy and civil liberties issues, he'd open up a Senate Intel Committee hearing into what Amazon is collecting. Americans every day, unwittingly but happily, hand over vast amounts of personal data to the big tech companies whenever they're online doing their shopping or whatever it is that they're doing. And so, again, I don't want to minimize the importance of checks and balances. Checks and balances within the Intel Committee are very important. I'm just saying that Senator Wyden and Heinrich's letter is stretching what actually is happening and making it appear as if this is some sort of nefarious, massive collection on U.S. citizens.
I hear you. I think in the end I would fall on this. I want to know more. And you're right about Amazon and big tech companies, and it doesn't have to be an either or proposition. Privacy is under assault.
No, absolutely.
Privacy is under assault at every angle. But, Mike, we always appreciate your voice on these issues. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.